I read something from Dana Milbank in today's Washington Post that just cracked my ass up because it's something that we all know about. His headline was, "Think you already know crazy? Meet the House GOP Class of 22. Well, in the first place, of course, I dispute calling these son of a bitches the GOP or Republicans. They're not. These are Christian terrorists, every single one of them. You will not find a Jew, a Muslim, a Buddhist, or a Hindu in this entire fucking group. They are all Christians. Now, if that offends you, I'm sorry. I don't label them Christians. They label themselves Christians. So let's just put it out there. Okay? Okay. Now, as Dana points out, you think you already know crazy? He said, not if this crowd takes over. He's talking about the midterm elections. He points out some obvious examples. There's Mehmet Oz's ridiculousness, Doug Mastriano's Nazi white supremacy, Herschel Walker, well, pretty much everything he says and does is bullshit, he's a lying fucker. Oh my God. And he will not take responsibility for anything. Now it turns out that the woman with whom he insisted she get an abortion, he also had a kid with. But, you know, that's then. And the Christians, oh, goodness, do the Christians believe in redemption. You can murder your goddamn mother if you want to, but if you then come around and say, oh, I'm sorry, Jesus, I didn't mean to kill mom. Well, I did, but please forgive me. Bingo! You're forgiven. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that one hell of a goddamn religion where you can do fucking anything? Any crime. No crime is too great that it can't be washed in the blood of Jesus. To which I say, bullshit. What an escape valve. But that's what religion is. Bullshit. Okay. There are Christian terrorist nominees for the House that are less well known, certainly no less erratic than Herschel or Mehmet or Doug. There's a woman from North Carolina. She was accused of hitting one husband with an alarm clock, trying to run over another with a car, and also threatening him with a skillet, punching her daughter. She denies all that, though she also invoked a conspiracy belief that alien lizards control the U.S. government. No, you heard me. This crazy bitch is running for the U.S. Congress and it tells the people who vote for her that alien lizards control the government. I have to pause and let that just kind of float away before I run panic-stricken from the Daniel Scapin studio into the woods. Then there's that crazy fucker from Ohio who lied about his military record. The one who said he was in Afghanistan, went 40 days without taking a piss. Oh, no, it was a shower. Right? All he ever did was load airplanes in Qatar, or Qatar, however the fuck you pronounce it. He lied about his military record. He promotes this QAnon madness. He admits to walking past police barriers at the Capitol on January 6th with 120 gallons of paint. Wonder what he was going to do with it. And then when he didn't use it, he took it home and turned his entire lawn into a Trump banner. There's a guy from Michigan who claimed that Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman participated in a satanic ritual. Yes. And this crazy fucker says that women's suffrage is bullshit. And he's a black guy. And he raised concerns about Democrats, quote, eroding the white population, end quote. He's a black guy who is worried that Democrats are going to erode the white population. I don't know this son of a bitch's name, but brother, let me tell you, you are fucking insane, Mr. Black Candidate. Oh, my God. And then Dana points out the Texas woman accused by her estranged husband of cruelty towards their teenage daughter. The Colorado woman who backed an effort to secede from the union. The Virginia woman, these are all women. This is the part that's fucking crazy. The Virginia woman who speculated that rape victims wouldn't get pregnant. Because then there's this Wisconsin man who used campaign funds from his failed 2020 race to participate in an attempt to overthrow the government on January 6th. And as Dana points out, what they all have in common is that they're in races that for some ungodly reason are competitive. I think about this crazy fucker Herschel Walker down here, up against the Reverend Raphael Warnock. Warnock, who is a true people's candidate, a people's senator right now, but a candidate. Everything that Warnock has done has been in support of the common folk, like me, like maybe you. And Herschel Walker is a shill for white people. Walker doesn't understand he's backed by QAnon and the Klan and white racists and American Nazis. But Herschel Walker is the dumbest fucker ever to run for any office anywhere on earth. But the white people down here have got him in a competitive race with Senator Warnock. That just makes my goddamn brain shrivel. I can barely handle that. So these nutfucks who are in these competitive races with real people means they could well be part of this Christian terrorist House majority come January. Do you realize how close we are? Do you? And all that's on top of a larger group of these Christian terrorist nominees in these deep red congressional districts who are a filthy, disgusting collection of election deniers and climate change deniers and QAnon enthusiasts and January 6 participants who propose to abolish the FBI and ban abortion with no exceptions. End quote, Dana Milbank, of course. And some of these scum, these Christian terrorists, won their nominations in spite of efforts by these misguided so-called Republican Party leadership to stop them and deny financial support from the National Republican Congressional Committee. It doesn't make any difference. There is crazy in this country that is loose. It is afoot. You ever wonder about the people down the street from where you live or down the hall? If you live in an apartment building, what about them? Careful, Mike, you're starting to sound paranoid. Well, even paranoids have real enemies, right? I don't know what to do. Every time I see one of these reports about the divisions in this country and how the right accuses the left of this and the left accuses the right of that, I just feel it's kind of uncomfortable. This little quiver of embarrassment because, yeah, I'm in that group. I'm in that group on the left that sees crazy, monumental, Mount Everest crazy sickness, insanity on the right. But the Nazis and the Christians and the terrorists, they see insanity in me. And I don't know what to do about that. I mean, there is objective reality. I don't give a fuck who tries to deny it. Religion is horseshit. I don't care who tries to deny it. I don't care. I mean, so who am I? But based on that, I look at the ideas that are left and the ideas that are put out by the right, and I think that there is no comparison. There never has been. The left-leaning, left-center or left-leaning politicians in this country have, for the most part, worked to make life better for all of us common folk. The center-right or the right wing have worked to make things better for the capitalist ruling class. Period. There is no fucking argument about that because the record is clear. And I've gone over that record so many times. Everything from unemployment insurance to the right to organize a union to Social Security to Medicare. None of that shit, and the list is endless, was ever put together by right-wingers. But I digress. But all of these crazy son of a bitches who are running, it might be the reason that Kevin McCarthy, who would be House Speaker, and who would have the task of leading this group of crazy fuckers, he calls his agenda a commitment to America. And as Dana points out, many members of his new majority might be good candidates for commitment. That's a knee slapper. Then that guy from the lawn painter, the guy that painted his lawn in Ohio, Majewski, he's got a different agenda from Kevin McCarthy. He wants to, quote, abolish all unconstitutional three-letter agencies, including the CIA. He said he's willing to fight a civil war. He made a campaign video in which he carried a rifle. I thought he was going to mount it and try to have sex with it. And he said he would, quote, do whatever it takes to bring this country back to its former glory. We know what that means, don't we? If you're white and you don't know what that means, ask a black person you may know, or maybe your friend, a coworker, the professor, a teacher, maybe your doctor. Ask that black person, say, hey, what does that mean to bring this country back to its former glory? In North Carolina, that woman, Sandy Smith, she is pushing her plans for the country. She wants to get rid of domestic abuse allegations, especially the ones against her. Here's what she said, quote, I never ran over anyone with a car. I never hit anyone in the head with a frying pan. I am bringing a frying pan to D.C., though. End quote. She tweeted that back in May. And she also wants executions, her word, executions, for those who stole the election from the orange vomit in 2020. Execute them, yeah. And this crazy psycho will probably be elected. And then that Michigan Republican who thinks women shouldn't have the right to vote, maybe that's what he had in mind when he wrote, he was a Stanford student. He wrote that women, quote, don't possess, and misspelled it, don't possess the characteristics necessary to govern because they rely on emotional reasoning, end quote. That crazy fucker. And then there's this guy in Wisconsin, Derek Van Orden. He, like Mr. Majewski and a few other of these Christian terrorists, he was at the Capitol that day, and he was photographed inside a restricted area, although he says, well, I left when things got violent. And then there's Kelly Cooper, a nominee in Arizona. She wants, quote, the political prisoners of January 6th to be released on day one, end quote. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.